Hello and welcome to episode 40 of iRacing Rush. Today we're going to start things off with the ARCA series at Daytona. I honestly don't know why I chose this series to come before the Indycar series at Indianapolis, which I've been looking forward to for a long time. But here we are now. We're just going to head into qualifying. However, this isn't a regular recording of this iRacing Rush episode. I don't know what happened in my OBS studio software or whatever the heck. Everything came in normally when I was ready to record. The audio input capture said it was good, but after all the recordings were done, for some reason it didn't have my voice in them, even though they said audio input capture was fine. So I don't know why the heck my tech is like not freaking working, which pisses me off. But I didn't want these races to go to waste because a lot of these races I had fun with in the lead up, especially this ARCA one and the IndyCar race later on, and especially with episode 41, which I hope to come out on Sunday with the NASCAR Cup Series at Charlotte. I just didn't want to delete everything and re-record them, especially with how well the races went. So instead, I'm just going to voice over them and tell you what happened throughout. So right now, for the first lap of qualifying, we're just running the outside, building up for momentum and revs as usual. But then comes the actual push lap itself. We go to the inside, and it's white flag in qualifying. Car feels really good, and I think we have the speed for pole. But of course, since it's a restrictor play, you're much more at the mercy of just pure luck, you know? Like, anyone can just randomly put up a 51.1 and just earn a pole out of nowhere compared to everyone else who's been like training and putting it to the line, or the yellow line specifically, more than anyone else. But color be surprised when we cross that line, and as you can see on the standings,
found a lot of enjoyment in the rookie.
Yeah, I'm doing these voiceovers live, so you're probably going to see some mistakes too, but yeah, we somehow got the pole at qualifying,
Just gotta get it.
and that's going to put us right up at the front for the start of the race. Now, of course, since it's the ARCA series we're talking about, I do expect to see a lot of wrecks throughout. The lead is probably going to change hands a lot because everyone's just trying to get themselves into prime position. Others trying to go for the lead right away rather than just waiting, but who knows what the heck's going to happen. But we can't even do a pace lap before running into any typical ARCA shenanigans. As you can see, Sparta said wrecked in turn 1. I guess some people were hitting each other under the pace lap.
Yeah, mine did.
So yeah, everyone is already trying to wreck each other before we can even get the race started. But just out of curiosity, I decided to take the bus stop during the pace lap just to see if anyone would react to it, and somehow we did get a reaction.
I respect her, just took what she can.
Well, thank you, Terry, for noticing, but now the pace car is in, and we're ready to get this race started. I wait till the restart zone, and we get a great jump over the field. Everyone seemed to be really slow before the line. Spotter saying that they're already wrecking at the trial, although I'm not surprised in the slightest. As you can see, there's a big gap back there behind me as we head into turn 1. So I'm already expecting these guys to come up and either have to check up a lot to not rear end me, or they can all just go to the outside and take the lead away from me. And that's exactly what they did here. Justin Day, James Gagnier in the 15, they're all going around me on the outside. So does, who's this? Oh, Andrew Hurst, Zachary Smith. Everyone on the outside is going to blow by here, and the leaders up ahead are going to now, I guess, go to the inside or somehow run the seam in between the inside and the middle, not really deciding where they want to run. And already we have some shuffling up here as the 17 tries to get around Andrew Hurst. But then,
Bye, have a beautiful time.
that was Devin Nunes that for some reason went off the track and just stopped. I don't know why he would do that, but he just put himself out of a race with that. And by the way, I really dig Andrew Hurst's paint scheme. That Nationwide Chevrolet definitely reminded me of Dale Earnhardt Jr., so shout out Andrew for the paint scheme. But at least now the field's calmed down a bit. We're up to 4th and we're running well. But towards the tri-oval, I noticed Zachary Smith on the outside trying to get that line going. I decided to try and lead that outside line so he could go with me, but instead he decides to try and ditch me, and of course that doesn't work at all. He puts himself into the wall, and now we're all slowing down even more to be inside line. So yeah, that kind of ticked me off. We're gonna have to fall back even more. Here's another one on the outside that somehow has some pace. That's Colby Dumarest. And he has no help behind him, but he for some reason turns down into me, and somehow that's a 4X. He barely taps me, but iRacing deems out a 4X. iRacing again. Fix the ARCA cars. Like, we had the netcode issue with the wall contact and going into other drivers, but now this. Well, anyways, let's just focus on the race now. We're continuing to get swallowed up by the outside line. 12 slows down a lot, and I don't expect that. A little tap there. This time it's not a 4S. Here's another one on the outside trying to pass me. That's Mark Harper. He does get around. And then we have a wreck ahead. Somehow we got low enough to avoid. We gained some spots back thanks to that. But now we have to focus ahead. A driver on the outside decides to go down low. Here's Cody Colton on the high side trying to work with the 22. But that line isn't going anywhere. That's going to let us gain a bit more. The number 10, I guess, went up a bit and somehow gave the 22 a bit of air, so that will probably give him the momentum back. But everything calmed down and back at single file until the 7th. Dakota Goodrich gets a run, goes to the high side, has some help behind him. So once again, it's a duel to see who's the faster line and who has the most momentum to stay ahead. That outside line, though, is already failing, so we're going to move back up. We try to go back to the outside to see if we can get some spots ourselves, see if we can help the guys behind. But for some reason, they're not going for it. And oh yeah, somehow the 15 turned it free wide. I honestly don't get it. And we're actually side drafting quite a lot as a result, and that's going to let the top 2 pull away a bit. So unless we can like sort this out, get back to at least 2 wide and close back in on the leaders, then we're probably going to screw all of us over and just let Michael Allen and Justin Day be on their own. However, it's now back-to-back 3 wide as the inside continues to stroll along and catch back up to the leaders. Somehow there's a wreck in turn 3. 2 guys get into it and spin on the apron. Dakota Goodrich will take the final spot on the inside from us, so now we're going to be at the tail end of this line. Fast forward some time, and it seems that things have calmed down for this leading pack. However, second place tries to go high. It's now side by side up there, and for some reason the 15's slowing way down. I have to go to the inside because there's no way I'm going to check up in time. Some might say that's an illegal overtake, but at the same time, he was going way too slow, so technically it counts as out. So, at least this way, we're now up to, at least by my count, we're in 5th, even though it says I'm relative 6th. It only updates when you cross the line. But things have calmed down once we close in on halfway. Justin Day, though, who closed back in on us, goes for the high side and tries to gain some spots that way. We're going to try to help him to see if we can advance our position as well. So now we're going side by side for 3rd and 5th. 14 battling with 22. I'm battling with the 9. Getting on the back straightaway, I give Justin a little bump, trying to help him out. But nothing seems to be really happening. We're not closing in at all. At least now we're closing in a bit, but it's not really worth anything. So at this point, I decide to give up and just try to go back down to the inside. But on lap 13, something really weird happens, and I'm just going to let you see it for yourselves. 22 just disappears from the screen. He was running 3rd, but now that he's gone, we don't know where he's located, and then he just spawns inside the 9. And now he's disappeared again, so very weird how people with internet issues like that still somehow allowed to be in the race, even though iRacing promised they would fix it. So at least that way we're up to 4th, right behind Terry Pugsley. But going through turn 4, we now have 2 to go. Somehow we're wrecking, I think, behind us, at least according to the spotter. But now we're about to take the white flag. We're going to try and work with Terry Pugsley on the high side to get around Michael Allen and Andrew Hurst. Michael Allen goes up and throws a huge block on us. Justin Day's going to try and force it 3 wide, but he gets pushed below the yellow line. And now there's a big gap between this row and the leading row in front of us. Wonder if lap cars are going to play an influence to this, who knows. We close in on Terry, but I'm going to try and take away from myself and go in the middle. However, he once again blocks us. And that unfortunately might have been my biggest mistake the whole race. Instead of working with Terry and trying to push him in front and maybe give both of us a chance, I was being selfish, and yeah, look where we are now. We're now down to 5th, at least trying to get 4th, pushing Terry Pugsley. And towards the line, Michael Allen is going to win this race. And then they decide to freaking wreck in front of me. And even though I didn't touch anyone after the line, I still get a 4X, which is once again stupid, but again, it's typical ARCA. But now, it's time for the famous 2.5-mile oval itself. Indycar at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Unfortunately, the qualifying didn't get off to the best of the starts because, as you're going to see on this pit exit here, which you have to follow all the way through, even out of turn 2, I ended up making this mistake. Yeah, I just decided to over push it, and then I'm off into the grass, so I decided to park it and try to take the pit exit properly because the game's not going to let you do a lap until you complete that pit exit properly. Just my word of advice to people racing at this track. Always be careful on the pit exit. It's always better to be slow rather than over pushing it. But out of turn 4, it's time to do our first lap of qualifying. It's not like the real thing where you get a warm-up lap and then they take your 4-lap average. On here, you can only do 2 laps right away, and your best lap will be the one taken. Car feels pretty good through turns 1 and 2, and easily out of the exit onto the back straightaway. Already reaching over 230 miles an hour. Jim Harvey sets a pole time of 39.535 for now as we head through turn 3 and then through turn 4. Car still feeling pretty good. Across the line, and we're going to get a 39.535 as well, tying Jim Harvey. And usually tiebreakers, at least from what I remember, are broken up by whoever gets it first, so I thought I should be in second because Jim Harvey got that tied first. But iRacing is saying otherwise. They're giving me the pole, at least for now. So into turn 3, looking for any advantage I can get to hopefully beat Jim Harvey completely. And out of turn 4, down the front straightaway again for the last time. The checker flag is up, and across the line, we unfortunately do not go faster. We only got a .615, so now it is up to complete mercy to try and hang on to that front row. Unfortunately, as we rolled off, Joshua Wright somehow puts in a time faster than both me and Jim, so we're going to have to start in second rather than on the pole. Although technically it should be third because, again, that rule, I thought that was whoever got the time first breaks the tiebreaker, so I do think Jim Harvey should be in second instead of me, but I'll take positions where I can get them. The pace car is now in as we get ready to start this race at Indianapolis. Joshua Wright gets a good jump as we approach the restart zone, and it's green flag. Colin Heil following along in third. A little blink from Joshua Wright, but nothing serious. Through the first short shoot and down into turn 2. Got to be very careful through here with the dirty air. Joshua Wright moves low, but for some reason goes back up top and gives us the inside line. Usually I want to trap guys on the outside, but Joshua Wright doesn't, so We immediately get the inside, which in turn gives us the lead. However, we already have a caution on lap 1. I'm assuming some guys in the back just wrecking each other. So now the field is already frozen to start this race off. Joshua Wright in second, Colin Hyle still remaining in third, Jim Harvey on the other hand down to fourth. As we get into lap 5, the pace car comes in and we're ready to get back green. Hopefully we can actually get some racing in. As we approach the restart zone, we once again go green. I'm going to move down to the inside here just to break the slipstream a bit, but already we have a caution before we even reach the corner. Can't even get through a corner before wrecking at the line. So I don't know who the hell could have caused that and how, at least in my opinion, it would probably be more worrying. But the pace car is back in for lap 9. Please, for once, can we have some green flag racing? Green flag in Indy, back down low, and then back up top for the entry into turn 1. Joshua Wright continues to follow along behind. And I guess just because we haven't been actually racing, the tires are still barely worn, which leads to the car feeling really good. Joshua Wright continuing to close in behind. We'll go up top, or my bad, the bottom I mean. Joshua Wright remains up top. Colin Hyle could have probably made it 3 wide, but he chose to hang back, which was probably smart. Probably too early to go 3 wide anyway. And for some reason, Travis Beard is spamming pitting in. We know you're pitting, dude. But before we can even get to the line, another freaking caution. And as you can see, Jim Harvey pretty pissed by that.
Yeah, this is frustrating.
Colin Hyle feeling the same way. So we'll once again have to pace around for a few more laps before we can actually get some racing in. Now that we're past halfway and still have yet to get a complete green flag lap in, can we please not wreck? Please. As we go green again at Indianapolis. Colin Hyle and Jim Harvey still stalking behind me and Joshua, who are running 1-2. And what's also weird, I realize, Joshua is able to close in a lot on me through the second turn. Usually I'm not able to do that because the dirty air just affects my car so bad, but Joshua somehow knows a trick. Maybe it's just cranking in a lot of weight jacker early. I'm having to back off a bit though through turn 3 because I didn't get the best entry and some dirty air affecting my car from the outside. So Joshua taking the lead, but already weaving dangerously below that pit line, and then he weaves back down low, so now I'm up high. So some pretty dangerous maneuvers this early before the end. We're still side by side for the first short shoot. Joshua's going to clear me out of turn 2, but I'm once again going to try to follow in behind. Down low underneath Joshua, trying to take that lead away. And we're able to do exactly that. But out of the final corner, still sticking very close is Joshua somehow. Just doing really well in the dirty air as Colin Hyle also closes in. But once again, he'll have to hang back. I'm going to give Joshua the inside because I'm not trying to wreck my freaking car. And now I'm also concerned about Colin Hyle behind as freaking Joshua deciding to weave below the apron as he blinks. So now I'm a bit pissed off because that's not even aggressive anymore. That is completely like dangerous and maybe even illegal. Like, didn't Indycar make a rule against that, going below the white line to break the slipstream? But regardless, we're trying to stick to Joshua and not let Colin Hyle pass. So once again, I'll go high into turn 1, see if I can hang on to my line. Really close on exit. I think Joshua just jolted up a bit too close, but once again, he gets the best. Diving once again below that white line. We're pretty much going to have no choice but to let Colin try to join the fun, but he backs off again. Coming out of turn 4, we almost get around Joshua before another freaking caution comes out. And as you can see by relative, we were just still like an inch behind Joshua right before the caution, so Joshua's going to retain the lead for now. Hopefully we'll have something on what I'm assuming will be the final restart, because with how little time we have left, there's no way we can get another restart in. It's going to be a now or never situation. The pace car will now go back into the pits for the last time as I try to time Joshua's run, which was a bit late. Joshua went a bit sooner than I expected, so now I'm once again having to weave and try to catch onto his slipstream as Colin continues to stalk us in third place. Coming out of turn 2, once again, the car is feeling good. I think I can still stick with Joshua, but once again, he weaves below that white line dangerously. Still trying to stick to his rear wing, and somehow he ends up giving us the inside line again. I'm having to back off a bit just to not hit him, but somehow we're clearing him out of turn 3. And there you have it. A lucky caution saves us. And that is what's going to give us an IndyCar victory once again. But as we enter the front straightaway here, I want to point out on the relative something weird that happened. So Jim Harvey, I guess, went ahead of all of us just to get into the pits, but that leads to some confusion in the relative, even though I thought he wasn't being scored since he went ahead of a pace car and all of that. Some guys behind us trying to do, I guess, a 3-wide salute at the finish. But regardless, the relative updates me as the winner. Our first ever IndyCar win at Indy in this iRacing Rush series. And I'm just going to leave you all with this burnout. And there you have it. Glad to win here at Indy again. And if you want to see more iRacing content like this, please like and subscribe. It'll mean a lot to the channel. And I'll see you all another time.